The story is about a group of friends who use a cursed tarot deck and awaken a demonic force. What starts as fun turns deadly when each card predicts their brutal fate. One by one, they are hunted by dark entities tied to their readings, realizing too late they've unleashed something evil that won't stop until they're all dead. A group of college friends are sitting around a fire having fun. They have rented this place to celebrate their friend Elisa's birthday, and so far everything is going fine. However, the atmosphere becomes a bit strange when the topic of Haley and Grant's relationship comes up. Everyone else thinks the two are about to get married soon, but as soon as Grant gets up to grab a drink, Haley tells everyone that they actually broke up just a day ago. Both of them have their own different versions of what went wrong. Meanwhile, Grant and the group's funny guy, Paxton, step aside and start their friendly therapy. But at the same time, a major problem arises. They are almost out of beer. It's quite late at night, and they are very far from the city, so they can neither go anywhere nor order anything. Eventually, they decide to look around inside the house to see if there might be more alcohol hidden somewhere. While searching, they come across a locked door, which the group's most active guy, Lucas, suddenly breaks open. Inside, there is an old wooden staircase leading down to a creepy basement filled with strange and somewhat frightening items. When they all go downstairs and start looking around, Haley finds an old cloth which she immediately recognizes as a divination cloth. She realizes that most of the items there are used in astrology. At the same time, Paxton finds a small wooden box with a zodiac wheel carved on its lid, and inside it are some eerie, hand-drawn tarot cards. It is then revealed that Haley has quite a lot of knowledge about astrology, but she is not in favor of using these things. Despite this, Elisa convinces her to read everyone's horoscope for the birthday occasion. After coming back upstairs, they dim the lights and light a few candles, while Haley starts setting everything up for the reading. The others are still treating it like a joke, but Haley begins to feel uneasy. She says that using someone else's tarot cards can bring bad luck. However, the birthday girl, Elisa, doesn't back down and says she isn't afraid of any ghosts. She sits down first for her reading, and her friend begins drawing the cards. The reading method works like this. Haley places 12 cards in a circle, one for each zodiac sign, and a 13th most important card is placed in the center, which determines the overall meaning of the reading. Elisa, who is a Libra, gets the inverted High Priestess card. Haley explains that it means she is moving towards success, but she needs to be careful or she could end up in serious trouble. Next is Maddie's turn, who is a Pisces. She gets the Hanged Man card, and Haley warns her not to run away from her problems. Then comes Paige, who is a Virgo. She gets the Dark Magician card. Haley jokes as if she's about to play a game, but also warns her to be careful of deception, or she won't be able to see the truth clearly. Meanwhile, Paxton goes alone to the bathroom, where he hears a loud banging noise coming from the back door as it swings open and shut with the wind. When he looks into the darkness, he thinks he sees a terrifying shadow with glowing yellow eyes. But as soon as the lights turn on, it turns out to be just a pile of trash, or maybe something else. When he comes back, everyone says it's now Paxton's turn. He sits in front of Haley. He is a Taurus, which means he is reliable but also stubborn. He gets the reversed Fool card, which warns him not to act impulsively based on his emotions. Then Lucas, who is a Capricorn, gets the Hermit card. Haley says it mostly brings good news for him. He might receive money and even have a chance with Maddie. But she also warns that if he isn't careful, he could go down the wrong path. Haley is about to gather the cards when Grant comes in and sits down for his reading. However, his results are not good. Haley tells him that his pride is ruining his relationships. His 13th card turns out to be the Devil, which signals that he must face the darkness within himself. At first, Haley was against doing all this, but after Grant's reading, she decides to do her own reading as well. Her 13th card comes out as Death. She says she isn't surprised because her cards have always told her that one day, love would be the cause of her destruction. After that, everyone goes to sleep to spend their last night. But down in the basement, the wooden box suddenly begins to glow with an orange light, as if some demonic force inside it has awakened. The next morning, they all leave in 2 cars to head back to college. On the way, Paxton forces everyone to listen to true crime podcasts. When they stop for gas, they are so absorbed in the story that Lucas suddenly scares them by announcing he has won a $700 scratch card. This becomes the first prediction to come true, but no one yet realizes how dangerous the rest of Haley's predictions are going to be. After night falls, they finally arrive back. The girls drop Elisa off at her apartment so she can rest. Her roommates have gone to a frat party, so she decides to stay home alone and relax, heading off for a shower. But when she comes out, she realizes that someone has opened the attic stairs. Surprised, Elisa calls out upstairs asking if anyone is there, but no one responds. She closes the attic stairs and goes back to her room, not giving it much importance. But just a few minutes later, she hears a loud noise from the hallway, like something has fallen. She thinks maybe her roommates have returned, so she steps out to check. However, she soon realizes that the attic is open again. She turns on the light, but she doesn't notice that something in the darkness is watching her. This time, she hears faint laughter and running sounds from above, as if her friends are up there. She assumes it must be some kind of prank. When she climbs up the stairs and reaches the top, she is shocked. There is nothing there, only cobwebs and old things lying around. Suddenly, the hallway lights begin to flicker and then go out. When she looks up again, the attic has completely changed. Candles are burning everywhere, and her tarot reading card, the High Priestess, is also visible. Out of nowhere, a terrifying demonic priestess emerges from the card and screams right in front of Elisa's face. She becomes so frightened that she falls down the stairs, breaking both of her legs badly. She isn't dead yet, but as she tries to crawl and reach her phone, the priestess drags her back and starts smashing the attic ladder onto her head again and again, until Elisa is finally killed. The next day, when everyone hears the news, they gather at Paige's apartment. They are all devastated by the loss of their friend. When it's time to leave, Haley decides to stay the night with Paige so she won't feel alone. Grant tells them to call him if they need anything. Meanwhile, Lucas drops Maddie off at her house. It seems like something might develop between them, but for now, they just end things with a hug. They don't realize that they will never see each other alive again. Lucas leaves happily, thinking it might be the best day of his life, but he doesn't know that his card, the Hermit, is watching him and waiting for the right moment. After some time, Paige suddenly wakes up from sleep after having a nightmare about Elisa. She feels guilty and thinks that maybe if she had been there, things could have been different. But Haley disagrees and begins telling her story of how she got into astrology. She explains that a few years ago, her mother became seriously ill, and to cope with the pain, she started reading tarot cards. The cards always said that her mother would not survive, and eventually, that's exactly what happened. After this, Haley became convinced that a person cannot change their fate. Meanwhile, Lucas arrives at a subway station to go home, but the entire place is deserted. As he walks through the tunnels, the lights start flickering on and off, making him walk faster. But as soon as he turns a corner, he suddenly stops. In the darkness ahead, a terrifying masked figure is standing. Suddenly, the darkness itself starts rushing toward him like a flood, as if it's trying to swallow him. Terrified, Lucas runs back, but the darkness surrounds him from all sides. Seeing no way to escape, he enters through a door that leads to a restricted area, where he finds himself in an old train yard filled with empty, abandoned subway cars. At the beginning, it seems like Lucas has escaped from that terrifying entity, but as he walks along the tracks, he steps on a newspaper that has his own picture printed on it, with a headline that reads, "You will die today." Suddenly, the Hermit lunges at him from the darkness. Terrified, Lucas runs and hides inside a nearby train, but the creature doesn't stop PKing him. It chases him inside the train, then suddenly disappears, as if it is playing with him. Eventually, the Hermit attacks him once again, and Lucas becomes so frightened that while stepping back, he falls out through a door, straight in front of an oncoming high-speed train. Meanwhile, Haley and Grant are back on campus talking about their relationship when they suddenly receive the news of Lucas's death. Now the situation has become very serious. One by one, their friends are dying, and they have no idea what is happening. They go to the police, but the incompetent detectives there are unable to help, so they decide that they will have to solve this mystery themselves. Back at the apartment, they start making different theories, and then suddenly Haley gets a breakthrough idea. She realizes that all of this is actually their horoscope readings coming true. As strange as it sounds, it also makes sense. Since they can't rely on the police or their parents for help, they decide to find the solution on their own. They take Paxton's laptop and quickly search on Google, where they find several articles written by the same woman, Alma Astorm. It seems like something similar had happened to her in the past. They try to contact her, but her phone number is unavailable. However, her home address is listed on her website. Haley immediately decides that they will go to her house, no matter how many hours it takes. Late at night, they reach her house, which looks quite creepy and deserted. Haley knocks on the door repeatedly, and eventually, an old woman opens it. Surprisingly, even before Haley can explain anything, the woman already understands which tarot deck they are talking about. She explains that this particular deck has been traveling around the world for centuries, and whenever inexperienced people use it, it kills them. Her own friends also became its victims during a trip in the 80s. She only survived because she never did her own reading. Since then, she has been trying to track down and destroy this cursed deck. Then she tells them the origin of the curse. It all began in the late 1700s with a Hungarian woman who was known as an astrologer. She used to tell fortunes for a powerful count, but one day she predicted that his wife and unborn child would die. Enraged by this, she and her own child were exiled, but when her prophecy came true, the count, seeking revenge, sent his men who took away her daughter. Heartbroken, the woman bound her soul to the tarot cards with her own blood, and placed a deadly curse on them, that anyone who seeks their fate through these cards will die. The old woman explains that the only way to break this curse is to completely destroy the deck, but before that, they must make it back home alive. On the way back, they discuss their next move. Maddie suggests an idea, that they should do the opposite of their readings. Maybe this way they can defeat the curse. She is watching her video when suddenly the car stops on a deserted bridge. Everyone panics, realizing that this is another tarot attack. At first, everything seems fine, but then suddenly a hangman game starts forming on Maddie's window by itself. And for no reason, Maddie suddenly opens the door and starts running into the darkness at full speed, alone. Haley immediately runs after Maddie, but before the others can even follow, that demonic creature starts circling the car and begins smashing its head against the windows, terrifying everyone. Then it suddenly disappears and reappears on top of the bridge. Just as Haley is about to reach Maddie, the creature tightens a rope around Maddie's neck, lifts her up into the air, and her friends can do nothing but watch helplessly. A few moments later, it drops her down as if it's playing with them, but then pulls her back up again and starts tearing into her body and eating her, while the others run for their lives. After running for a long time, they finally make it back to the city and stop at a park, where they start arguing again about what to do next. Haley says that the bridge attack happened exactly like Maddie's prediction, meaning everything is actually happening according to their readings. For the rest of them, only one option remains now: go back to the mansion and burn those cards. But Paxton suddenly becomes stubborn. He ignores everyone and says that he will go to his room and keep himself safe. He leaves alone, while the others continue with their plan. After just a few steps, he starts hearing strange laughter in the darkness, but he tries to ignore it. However, when he looks across the street, he sees the Fool card creature coming toward him. When he turns again, the terrifying thing is twisting its upper body in a disturbing way, as if its bones are made of rubber. On top of that, his staircase key doesn't work, forcing him to use the elevator, which turns out to be exactly where the creature wants to trap him. As soon as he reaches upstairs, he sees that the creature is already waiting for him in the hallway. He quickly tries to press the button to go back down, but the elevator suddenly starts moving on its own, trapping him inside. The elevator keeps stopping again and again, and every time the door opens, a new horrifying scene appears. Once the creature finishes playing its game, the final attack begins. The lights turn red, and the creature breaks through the ceiling, lunges at Paxton, and rips him apart with its sharp teeth. Meanwhile, the others are already heading back toward the mansion. They realize that something terrible has happened to Paxton, but there's nothing they can do now, so they continue their journey. When they reach the mansion, they have no trouble finding the cards. They are still kept in the same basement cabinet where they had left them. Now the problem is what to do with them. They don't have proper tools or any special knowledge, so they go with a simple method. They throw the cards directly into the fire, but surprisingly, they don't burn at all. With no other choice, they call the old woman again, who somehow manages to arrive there. They explain the whole situation to her, and then she draws a zodiac symbol on the wooden floor and lights candles around it to create a specific atmosphere. Then she closes her eyes and begins summoning the spirit of the astrologer to pull it out of the cards. But suddenly, fear appears on her face because she starts sensing the presence of that demonic force in the room. The spirit proves to be extremely powerful, and the old woman is unable to control it. Suddenly, the spirit possesses her body and forces her to read her own horoscope. This time, she draws the Six of Swords as the 13th card. All of a sudden, she is violently dragged backward into the darkness. The others panic and run out into the hallway, but they almost collide with her corpse. Her body is pierced through with swords and falls right in front of them. In the chaos, Paige gets separated from the others and is lost somewhere inside the mansion, exactly at the moment when her own tarot reading is about to attack her. Seeing this, Grant tries to go back to save her, but a massive demon appears behind them and forces them to run. Somehow, they manage to get into a room, lock the door, and block it with furniture, temporarily keeping themselves safe. But Paige isn't that lucky. Hearing Haley's voice, she starts following it toward the basement, not realizing it's another trick. As soon as she enters, the door slams shut, trapping her inside. Inside, the sounds grow louder and louder, until suddenly there's an electric shock and the bulb above her bursts. Glass shards injure her eyes, and she can no longer see clearly. Wandering in pain, she passes through a curtain and suddenly finds herself on a strange stage, like a theater, where a magician is already waiting for her. In front of her, zombie-like spectators are sitting and clapping. The magician uses magic to shackle her legs, but she manages to crawl behind the stage and hides inside a box. The problem is that the box shuts on its own, and now she can only see outside through a keyhole. The magician slowly brings her back onto the stage. Then he pulls out a large saw from his pocket and starts stabbing it into different parts of the box. Inside, Paige struggles to avoid it, moving from one side to the other. In the end, the magician turns a handle, shrinking the box until there's no space left for her to move. And then he cuts her into two from the middle with the saw, while she screams in pain. Meanwhile, while their friend is going through a horrific end, Haley and Grant are sitting in a room, just talking. Haley says that the stars had always predicted that the two of them could never be together. But while thinking about that, she suddenly comes up with one final plan. She says that she will use the same tarot cards to read the astrologer's own horoscope, so the curse can be turned back on her. Grant is unsure whether this will even work, but he has no better idea, so he reluctantly trusts her. Suddenly, a demonic creature appears behind them and drags Grant out through the window. Now the creature comes after Haley, and she runs toward the door to escape. During this, the creature changes its form from a devil into Haley's 13th card, Death. Haley runs into the hallway to save herself, but in panic, she hides inside a closet. Surprisingly, this trick works, but as soon as she steps out, Death appears in front of her again. She somehow makes her way down to the ground floor, but the spirit blocks her path everywhere. Finally, it grabs her and pins her against a wall, about to kill her, when suddenly Grant returns and attacks the creature with a fire poker, saving Haley. He tells Haley to take the tarot cards and complete her plan, while he tries to hold the creature back, but the demon overpowers him and starts dragging him down into the darkness. Meanwhile, Haley finally begins reading the astrologer's horoscope. She says that for the spirit to find peace, it must let go of its past. The witch refuses to accept this, but as soon as she looks at her cards, she realizes that her final card is also death. Suddenly, a strong wind fills the room, and the zodiac symbol drawn on the floor turns into a storm of fire. The witch tries to save herself, but that force pulls her in, and she is torn apart within the storm, destroyed by her own curse. At last, the demonic spirit is gone. Haley and Grant begin walking toward the nearest town, but suddenly they see headlights of a car approaching from a distance. For a moment, they fear that the creature might still be after them, but as it comes closer, they realize it's Paxton, who somehow survived, because at the last moment his roommate arrived and interfered during the Fool's attack. In the end, the three survivors managed to defeat their fate, and the story comes to an end.